it going, everybody? So I just got the Takeda air intake kit for the Genesis or the Stinger, either one, for the twin turbo 3.3. So basically, I don't expect this to do much in terms of power, if anything at all, but it might make it sound a little cooler. So, and it looks a little cooler too, because it's like placing these stock boxes there. But basically, it's a little bit of a process, it seems. So you got to uninstall both strut braces, which is kind of annoying. It says a 14 millimeter wrench. I do have the torque numbers, at least I think I do, that I looked online to find. They don't say it on the AFE website though. So basically they want you to take those off, then remove the stock boxes. I paid $440 for this kit, which is a lot, but it is two boxes and 2 filters, so I guess it should be a little more expensive, right? Okay, so before we start, these are the tools you're going to need. So needle nose pliers. If you have ones that can stay a little tight instead of just loose like that, that would be helpful, but that's for taking off the clips. You definitely need needle nose pliers though. I had this here, which is just a 1/4 inch ratchet handle. I like to use like a screwdriver, made things a lot easier on some of the bolts to take out. You don't need an adjustable wrench if you have a deep well 16 millimeter socket. So that's to tighten the little barb on the intake hose. I didn't have one of those, or I couldn't find it, so I just grabbed one of this and tightened it. You don't have to tighten it too much, but you still need something to tighten it for 16 millimeter. I have a long ratchet handle. Use this for pretty much only the strut tower braces, so you can get away with smaller or bigger. You know, you just need to break them at first. That's the only reason you need the longer one, really, for torque. Then this one is the one you're going to use inside the Airboxes, so it's just a smaller one. This is it doesn't matter what size what size drive you have, as long as you have the right sockets. So then you're going to use this 14 millimeter one for strut tower brace, 10 millimeter for Airbox, like the stock Airbox, removing that, and maybe some of the clamps as well. And then I have 2 8 millimeters. A long one and a short one, and this is really just to install the new clamps on like the turbo housing, and I guess the same ones under the tube for the Airboxes, so like the new clamps that come from AFE. And then you'll see in the video I had a flat head that I used for taking off tubes, and then for the final small clips you're going to need a screwdriver. So if you have a good Phillips, you can use that, or just a flathead. So but that's all you need, really. Make sure you have it. Again, this was super helpful. Really, it was super helpful. Saved a lot of time, because there's a lot of places you don't need a lot of torque, and then you will definitely need a small socket to get in the Airboxes. Otherwise, you're gonna have a real hard time tightening down the screws. But that's all I needed. Yeah. Let's get to it. Okay, so I decided now it's time. I got the new air filter, so it's time to install the Takeda air intakes on the G70 3.3T. First steps, according to the book, is you're going to have to unscrew these 2 14 millimeter bolts on each side for the strut braces. So make sure you have a 14 millimeter socket. And it also says multiple times in the book that you need a 10 millimeter socket, and they even say with an extension. So I hope this is enough. I have another extension, like the metal bar that goes into it. I don't really know where it is. I have a big one, but people also said that you need to have a small wrench, which I do, which will work for this one, but not for this one, because this is the whatever it is, the 1/4 inch. 1/4 inch? Yeah. I would also recommend getting a torque wrench for these. It doesn't say anything about the torque specifications in the book, but you can find it online. I did search it up and find it. That has to matter. I mean, maybe it doesn't, but every other time I've ever done anything with a strut brace, it's mattered. So I think that's correct, but it just says in the book to just tighten it up and then check it after driving for a little bit to make sure they're still tight. So maybe it doesn't matter, but I would definitely prefer to use a torque wrench on that. So let's start pulling some of this stuff off. So as you see, this is a super involved process. So like these have to come off right here. There's a lot of clamps, so you need needle nose pliers or some sort of clamp tool. The one thing that I couldn't figure out how to do, and I already removed the engine cover, by the way. I think I did that earlier in the video maybe, but there would normally be an engine cover here. You can see it goes here, there. Those little mounting points. It just kind of pops straight off, but there was. Those are pretty tight. I really would say you definitely need to have a torque wrench. And so this one's super tight. I ended up using an extension to get over the bar. So there you have it, loosened or fully taken off. You know, once you get it loosened, you can use your hands pretty much. Some of them are tighter. Obviously, when you loosen one, the other one's gonna get tighter. Yeah, this is not really that well lined up. There we go. I don't know what this is made of. It's super light though. I don't know if it's aluminum or something stronger than aluminum, but it looks nice. Okay, so now both of the strut braces are off. You can see we have so much more space now. I still don't see that thing that I was looking for, however, but maybe when I get the box out. Next steps, it says, is to take the airbox out. So apparently there's just the clamp and then 3 screws. So there you go. And this says it's a 10mm socket and extension. I may just use my screwdriver to see if it works. This little tool right here, I mean, this is pretty much all I ever use it for, is airboxes. Funny enough, it already had a 10mm on it. I guarantee you it was from when I was doing my Charger Scat Packs airbox for that Hellcat mod, or Challenger Scat Packs airbox for the Hellcat mod, with the air thing that goes through the headlight. Yeah, easy enough. Way easy with the torque of the wrench. Okay, so once you get it, the screws undone, you're just basically going to pull this box right out. Look at that. And there we go. I don't know what it was, but there's the orange crap that came on the other screw. So it's a rubber grommet of some sort. There we go, inside the box. That's one. Need to do the other side. You'd think that normally that would be all we have to do. In most cars it would. Okay, well, according to the book now, it says once we remove the driver's side, just do the exact same thing on the passenger side. I'm going to do that. Not going to make you sit through it. It's literally the same exact thing. So 1, 2, 3, and then the tube. And then you just yank it right out. It was super easy to remove, by the way, as you saw I did on the video one-handed. Once you get the screws out. Let's look down here. Yeah, okay, so there's one right there. I'm hoping these will work with that little clamp. And then I think, unfortunately, there's one down there too, which there is. So that's the pain in the butt one. You definitely need an extension, which I think mine might work. It's not as small as I thought it would be, so like you can get a regular size ratchet in there. I think you're just gonna have to, you know, not use it that often or not move it. But once we get those out, that's probably the hardest part of the actual hardware. The hardest part of the whole thing is definitely gonna be figuring out what tubes and clamps to undo based on the black and white booklet. But we get this off last time. There we go, just like that. I already loosened the clamps. Right hand versus left hand for damn sure. Okay. How did I do this one-handed before? Let me try it with my right hand. There you go. And there's the two boxes. And the screws. And put the other screws over there. And there we go. It's coming together. Let's see if this is as easy as the other one. Yeah. So these were not tight at all, by the way. So you absolutely, if you have one of these screwdrivers, now losing the screw will be another thing, but if you have one of these screwdrivers, super easy. I'm gonna stop recording so that I can catch the screw. But it's super easy with just a screwdriver. That was what you witnessed was me from start, so it wasn't tight at all, not like the other ones. And unlike the other screws, this actually does have a screw head, so you can just use a regular screwdriver for them. So that's what I would probably recommend if you don't have an extension or one of these tools. Just use a regular screwdriver because it worked fine, super easy. Unless this is missing something and there's something else harder, that was really easy. But people did say it was really easy with an extension, so. But a screwdriver would work fine. I mean, this is what I used. Didn't touch that. Alright, that's it. So the other side has one very much like this. This connects to the Airbox. I don't know if I think that the new boxes have this built in already, but you can see down here. Do I have a light? That's the opening there. Pretty cool. I mean, it basically is already had from the factory a cold air intake. I mean, that's blown straight from up the front of the car with a sealed box. I mean, with a sealed box, right? Yeah. So, I mean, this is why I always say it. I mean, I am not doing this for performance games because I'm doing it for noise, to be honest, as childish as that sounds. If they had given us a louder exhaust maybe, or a burbling exhaust, I wouldn't need to do it, but like, I doubt this is going to give any more performance gains. Yeah, there's a cone filter, so there's more filter surface for the air to go through. So maybe a little more airflow, but like, this is already a cold air intake. It's already pulling air only from the front of the car. I mean, this is the way modern cars are. Same thing with the Charger and Challenger. Like, they pulled air from down low, like down in front of the wheel well. And then with that mod that I put on for the Challenger, it actually also pulled it through the headlight, through that air grabber headlight, which is pretty cool. But, you know, car makers spend millions of dollars getting the most efficiency out of their, you know, intakes. They want the best fuel mileage, best performance. Now, the only thing that you could potentially say why an aftermarket would give you better is because they may or may not meet emissions requirements. Obviously, in Florida, there's no such thing as emissions. These all say they're CARB, so that's supposed to be the strict, you know, California Air Resource Board or whatever it is. Automotive Resource, I don't know what it is. But, so I don't think these are bad for emissions, but, you know, like I said, I'm doing this for the noise. Hopefully it's noticeable. You can already hear the turbos in this car, so I think it will be more noticeable, which is pretty cool. But yeah, so I wouldn't really expect much performance gain on this, just because these are already great intakes. I mean, this car did really kick into its own around 4,000 miles. Like, felt a lot better. I don't know if there's a break-in period on that time, but like, just power on power. Brakes and loose. Okay, so this side was a little more of an annoyance because of this little wiring harness right there. But as you can see, I was still able to do it with a screwdriver, no problem. It just took a little more finger grip to get the torque on. But Other than that, no problem at all. Like, this was super easy with the screwdriver. Although, if you don't have a long socket, or this screwdriver, or a screwdriver, since, again, it has screwdriver heads, although that would probably be annoying keeping it pressed on, but I can see why this would be a pain in the ass, because you need at least as long as the screwdriver is to get it out. Okay, so there you go. This time I was able to just push it on it. So that's it, right there. There's the other one. Let me go get the other screws. All right, it's going. Figure D. Pliers on the pinch clamp. Disconnect the breather line. I assume that's this. Silly angle that they gave it to us, but yeah. So we'll do that. And what's the next step? Ooh. So it wants us to do this. I don't think I've ever removed clamps before, to be honest. I'm gonna do it with my right hand. Oh, there we go. I'm not sure what we're doing with it. Just moving it back, I think. There we go. Like that. You can see it was kind of like molded, press formed in there. So, okay. Got it out. So again, most of this process is more challenging because I'm trying to film it and get close up. So I'm using one hand. Two hands, this goes a lot quicker and a lot easier. So two hands, that came off no problem. Just can't get it off with one hand because it's loose right there. Okay. Now let's disconnect the tube from the turbo. One breather tube? Yeah, that makes sense. So let's, now we're gonna undo this screw right down there. That's what it looks like in the video. I'm also just using the screwdriver again, although, yeah, there we go. Just get it on, no problem. I mean, it's super easy if you have one of these. Wait. Oh, that's a clamp? I mean, this is annoying. I think I just loosened the clamp, to be totally honest. This is tight in here. Yeah, let's try this. Okay, so far this was the biggest pain in the ass of the whole process. Getting that turbo tube off down there. Whew. It's not even because it's, I mean, it is tight, but it's really just the other tubes around it, this tube, that make it a real challenge, because you don't want to, like, they're not as rigid as you'd think, like they move around. But I just wiggled it left and right and pulled at the same time, and it worked out well. But it's definitely the hardest part so far. If you have small hands, it might be easier. So then we're going to take that off. I leave it like that, I should say. Then it says to do the blow-off valves, which they're connected to that tube we just undid. So we're going to undo them here. It also says to do the same thing on the left side, by the way. Okay, so I got the blow-off valve tube uninstalled. You didn't need pliers to get this off. You just use your fingers, pretty easy. But pulling this tube off, really hard. Everything's down here super tight, which I guess you need that, no leaks. But like, they didn't even need clamps, to be honest. Like, it was tough to pull that off. So tube work on this sucks. It's definitely, I'd rather unscrew things all day than pull off tubes. But okay, so we got that part done. And again, I have to do all this on the other side too. So very annoying. With the whole twin turbo setup, as I'm sure for all twin turbos are like this, but okay, so within the driver's side tube, Blowoff. I don't really know what they're talking about. I assume down there. I genuinely didn't know what they were talking about, so I just made an executive decision and removed that tube right here. So this one from the inlet tube down there. So I don't know if that's the right thing to do, but I did do later on that it wants me to remove this whole metal tube by unscrewing it down here. So I assume that tube goes regardless, but I didn't really see anything else to do. As a result, though, we can see the turbo. That's pretty cool. There it is. Look at that. See if there's anything wrong with it. Let's get a closer look inside the turbo. So there you go, you can see what looks like black paint. I looked at a better picture of it from my camera. And you can see it looks like that might even be shaved down a bit. So I don't know if that's for balancing or whatever, but let's check the other side when we get there too. But so that tube is removed, and then it next says we need to remove the breather line from the valve cover, which I think is here. I don't see that little hook there, but that has to be it, because it's right there. Oh, those are pliers. They really did not do a great job of giving these instructions here. But it's also, I'm sure this is not a Stinger, because that's what the video is for too. So maybe things have changed. Could have also been 2019 Stinger, for all we know. But yeah, so let's take this out. That's definitely what we want. And then we're going to unscrew the bracket down there. I hope I don't have to do that on the other side. I don't see that on the other side, so that'll be good. Let's just take this clip right now. I'm guessing most of these clips can be done by your fingers if you can, if you have the, I don't know, the grip strength for these tiny ones. Like the ones that I did use with my fingers had big enough like tabs so that I could do it. So, all right, there you go. Just move it. I don't know, move it back or something like that. Out. I guess we pull that off. Yeah, and then we're definitely going to take this. I mean, they didn't even show the bracket. Really annoying. So maybe go visit the video if you don't trust my, whatchamacallit. This had a breather tube on it. I definitely don't have a breather tube, like a breather filter. So somebody already, like, in this video, already had done something on that. Because, like, check that out. That's definitely the bracket. Right there. That's not, I don't have that filter. Somebody already had done this on this picture, so. But yeah, so bracket there. And it looks like they actually did it. So maybe that's what we install later. I don't know, but let's just move on. So I did loosen it with the big ratchet because these were much tighter, but once they broke, so they might have some sort of thread lock, once they broke they're pretty easy to get off, so you can loosen them with this. Really don't want to lose these screws, so I'm going to do it hand again. There we go, and it's a good call because they were not locked on or anything. So definitely be careful not to lose these because you won't be getting them back. All right. I don't know if those were supposed to be removed because they definitely smell like oil. That's weird. I don't think there's any connection to the crankcase, but there's definitely oil in there. I'm assuming that when they filled it up, they either just spilled on it or something, but that was a very noticeable oil smell on this screw. So I'm not sure what the deal is with that, but I'm pretty sure that's the right thing to remove. Yeah, I mean, that's got to be it right there. That is 100% the same bracket, so I don't know. let's take this whole tube off now. I already undid the clamp, just gotta pull. So I think it actually, I don't think it'll matter because I can put that clamp back on pretty easily, but it's actually this tab that they wanted me to pull. So I actually kind of already loosened it. It's a lot more annoying to get to the tab than this one, but it also should be easier to pull off because it's connected to something hard versus this was just wiggling around trying to pull that out. But I'm not sure if we need to take this off eventually as well, but right now I think it wanted us to take this one off. I think that more matches the picture because I think this is the clip that I took off originally right there, and further down is what we need to take. So that's what I've been loosening, the pliers. Careful, because if you spin the plier, like if you spin the clip, it becomes a lot harder to get to. Like I originally got it from here up top, and then I spun it a little bit, and then I couldn't get it back in because this tube was there. So yeah, little interruption from Rocket. Hi, what you doing, buddy? Come here. Come here, you. Yeah, you a happy boy? Okay, goodbye. Okay, so then for the other side, we're gonna remove the breather hose or whatever it is from the blow-off valve. And then we're gonna go down and do the same thing by removing that clamp right there. I don't think we need to remove anything else because there's thankfully no breather hose on this side that goes to like the crankcase. Yeah, so we're just gonna remove that and remove that, and I think we're good to go on the other side. And then this is the second to last step. I would say the last step because it should be the last step, but I'm still struggling with this stupid hose right here. I don't know how to get this thing off. Like, it is on there so tight, and there's just no way to grip it. So I'm gonna try and figure out a way. I may have to take a break. It's very frustrating. See, I got the clamp all the way down there. Of course, it's in the ideal position of down low, so now I can't really move it without twisting the tube. But that, so far, worst part of this. I thought it was this part, but it's not. It's that part. And there you go. Easy peasy with your fingers. I don't remember how hard it was getting this off, but definitely a two-handed affair. Okay, got this side out. Also a huge pain in the ass, mainly because of this tube right here. They just made it, like, I mean, obviously AFE didn't, but Genesis did. This is super annoying in every step of the way. I mean, this is annoying. Took 5 minutes, though, or less than 5 minutes. That stupid tube, working on for a lot longer. So still, that's the most annoying part. This part, not that bad, but kind of a twist and shout affair where you're going to be screaming under your breath, getting that thing off, mainly these blow-off valve tubes. This tube wasn't that bad. So, all right, so now we're done with everything except for that stupid tube in terms of disassembling. So once I get that off, then we can actually install the stupid thing. Let's go look down in the turbo while we're here. Same story. So you can see there's paint on the other one as well. Yeah. Huh. So that is definitely for balancing. Not bad. Okay. God help me if this is not the right tube to take off, but I finally got it off. You see it was right there. What I ended up doing, and amazingly it didn't break the tube, at least not that I can see, what I ended up doing, and you're going to have to do this if yours is as tight as mine because no other way is coming off. Taking a flathead screwdriver, a small one like this, it doesn't have I mean, this is pretty lucky that I have this thing because it's old. God knows how old it is. It's bent now. Keep it as a trophy. But it did bend it as I was pulling it off. It doesn't have a very sharp head. And I stuck it in like this. So through the back into the tube and just kept wiggling around as far as I could, and that got it off. What a pain in the ass, though. I mean, absolute awful. Not even close to how the video showed, where he just bloop, popped it right off. Guessing that it was already done, so it was already loose. But oh, awful. But okay, so now we're done with the removal process. It might be glue on there. I mean, it's such a barb, but whatever. yeah, now we're done with the removal process, so let's start installing. Cool beans. So it says to transfer one of the pinch clamps from the breather hose that we just removed. I don't know if it... we can try it, I guess. It was much too big. Like, it's not tight at all, so maybe it would be tight if we move it all the way down there. So maybe I should do it just to try it. But otherwise, they did provide these little clamps here. So we'll figure that out when we get there. But I don't think it matters right now, because that's like the last step, putting it back on the crankcase. But I remember doing this on my Charger and Challenger as well. Kind of a pain. So you can remove the rubber, the metal from the grommet, and I would recommend doing that, because otherwise there's no way of getting this in. So he's pretty much just going to force it in like that. Easy peasy. Much easier than it was to get it on the Challenger Airbox, which was a slide in, and it was just more stiff than this. So okay, put this back in like so, I guess. And same thing there. Yay. And this is going to be the place, these are going to be the mounting. I don't think it really matters because there's going to be a filter, but good not to have extra debris for no reason. Okay. Put the metal back in. Where's the other one? There it is. Okay. So that's that step right here. Page 16 says install driver's side Takeda Housing into the vehicle. Step 7. Ah, okay. So there is a screw. Yep. That looks super awesome. It's not exactly the most smooth plastic molding, is it? But I guess similar on this side. So these are the screws that we're going to put in using the screws that we took out from the front bracket. So let's go do that. The screws they're referring to for step 7 were these ones. So we're just going to try and find a way to get them into that little new hole. And that should be enough to keep the front in. And then the next step, we're going to go in here and put the 2 screws in the grommet there to hold it in. I'm not sure how solid that is to the front, to be totally honest, but I'm sure it's good enough. Alright, so this is a pain in the butt. So the way to do this that I've found is either with a screwdriver, old Rusty over there, or with this thing here. Fucking, if you have a super small socket wrench, you might be able to get it in there. That's what people are talking about. But I do have a super small socket wrench with an adapter, and it still didn't work. It's just too tight here over like this little thing right here. So easiest way would take this plastic thing off for sure, and then just use a regular wrench, which I tried using a regular wrench, but not from that angle, you can't. So definitely start it by hand. Maybe have a magnet on hand, because I already dropped the screw once. That was before I started it by hand, so start it by hand. Then once you get it on, I do think that this angle, coming in like this, is your best bet. Yeah, and then the screws they're referring to in step 4 for the box are these long black ones. So these are the ones that we removed from the outside of the airbox. So we're going to go now put these in. I'm going to start them by hand. Ooh, don't fall off. I'm going to start them by... Ooh, can I take this off? No. Maybe? No. Can you see it? I gotta the best way for these to go in. So I gotta get them here and here. This was way harder than it needed to be. I had to take it off twice because I had to do the outside screw first. That'll be my guess. Do this one over here first. The one in the back you can kind of see to line it up so you can actually figure it out if it's going in. But huge pain in the ass for no reason. Also, don't tighten these ones up at the front until you get them lined up, because you won't be able to get it in otherwise. Those aren't tight yet, but I did the other side as well, and that one went in a little easier, so it's just a fitment issue for sure. I'm sure either or, whatever you get will be, you know, either good fitting or poor fitting. This one was poor fitting, but it ended up, you know, I ended up getting it in, although I had to loosen this way a lot, so hopefully I can tighten it up and get it tight to the flush to the front, so we'll see. Almost there. Whew. Okay, so after much struggling, both sides are fully tightened because I needed an extender. I need an extender to get it to go on the small wrench for this bolt over here. But I mean, really annoying way they designed this. I'm sure it has something to do with maximizing the airflow, but would have saved so much time if they had just made the screws external, like the other side, like the way that they came out of. Like, I really, obviously they're not gonna, you know, I don't even think they make this car anymore. After 2025 they may not, so they're probably not gonna change anything, but what a huge help that would have been, because this was just unnecessarily challenging, like, to get those in. Like, it was not, shouldn't have been hard. It's just screws. Screws go in fine without the box. You can't get a wrench in there, a socket wrench in there when it's loose, so you have to really fight it with your fingers. But nonetheless, they're in, they're tight. So let's move on to the next step. So the next step is to install the 32 ring clamp over the small side of this little coupling here. There's actually two, one for driver's side and one for passengers. I'm going to make sure that they're the same. I don't think they're any different. The actual longer tubes are different, but nicely they do label the clips. So it says a 32 and a 52 for the next step. You can see right here, 32. So that makes this super easy. So it's basically just going to put it right over here, and then this goes over the turbo, and it says to orient it as such. So I think basically like this. So I have it installed like that with the screw right here and up, and then the tube facing towards the middle. It says to do the exact same thing on the other side, so let's do that. These inlets actually go pretty nice. They're nice and easy on. However, this is going to be a pain to tighten. There's just not a lot of space on that side. I mean, like I said, both sides suck in their own way. Like, this side sucked because of the breather tube. This side sucks because of this thing. And, you know, it's like, whatever. It's like they always just make, and again, this is Genesis, and obviously they don't give a crap if you're making aftermarket intakes on your car, but just remember this when you're considering this. Okay, next it says to put the 52. 52. It's upside down, but over the large end of the thing we just put on. Oh, that's pretty big, so we probably should tighten that before we put it on more. Although, I'm not sure. Whatever, we'll leave it like that. I mean, I don't know why it's having us put it on right now, but it is, so. I'm not tightening anything yet, just because I think this is going to matter where the orientation goes for the other tubes. And then next step, weirdly enough, instead of having us do the tubes that go into it, it's having us install the filters into the actual boxes. And then we go and do the tubes. I mean, we're getting there. Let's get in there. This is a long time, though. Okay, so here are the two filters. I don't remember if I recorded the video when I first unboxed this, but one of them actually had debris inside of it. I was not comfortable using that. I reached out to AFE, and they sent me another one. It was pretty serious debris, so, you know, if you can get out the debris, I would say, you know, you can use it. I just wasn't comfortable with it because it was, you know, these are turbos. Naturally aspirated I don't think matters that much, but with turbos it does. So just make sure that there's no debris, and it was rubber debris, like left over from the molding in this. So Yeah, so let's put this one in, I guess. Let's see here. And there's a way to hold these. I don't remember what they said, but I'm holding them from the rim so you don't bend the filter media. I don't know if this needs to go in a certain direction or if not, if you just go like this. So it just says push it in, but it does just say push it firmly, so I don't know. I mean, I guess you just go in an angle. There you go. Look at that. Nice. It's not super snug, but I guess maybe these two giant ones. Yeah, that's definitely what they were. I guess. I don't know why it has us do that, but I mean, they're not really that tight, but it doesn't really matter, I guess, because as long as it's tight in the tube, nothing's gonna get in. Let's try the other side. The other one went in better. They still, same story. So it's in. It's not really tight, but again, it's in. Tighter than this one. That's weird. Well, whatever. I'm past the point of caring. You can put the, this is the level, number 60 in case you're wondering. Number 60. But it came on the filter, so like the filter was pre-wrapped and it had the clamps with it. I think they might have sent extra ones too, but I don't think so. Okay, so now we're at this step here. There. So install the barb fitting out of the driver's side. Okay, do not over tighten. So driver's side has the barb. Okay, so this is the driver's side. That's where the barb is going to go. I'm not really sure what this is for, to be honest. But I'm not really sure. It said use a size 16 socket, but you have to have a long one. Okay, so in another life I had a socket that was 16 and deep well. I have a 15, 17, 18, blah, blah, blah. I don't know where the one from the set went. Probably... I have no idea. I have no idea what used that. An oil plug, maybe? Drain plug? Whatever. Either way, I used an adjustable wrench, and this is how much I tightened it. I don't know if you're supposed to tighten it more. This is what it looks like on the video, and it says don't over tighten. It's pretty snug. Like, I can't move it with my hands. So I think we're good. Again, that's what it looks like on the video. I don't really know. It says it's an NPC fitting, so maybe that means it's not, like, it's just generic. So that's why it doesn't go all the way in, but either way, that's the way I have it. You can see that's basically how it is on the instructions too. Next thing it says to do is install the tube. So that's in like that, and then okay. So yeah, it wants us to do both. So make sure you have it oriented properly. Damn, that was pretty good. It says tighten the turbo first, then tighten this. So tighten here first, then this, then the filter, because I guess that's the area of importance, right? You definitely don't want this coming off the turbo. So let's tighten that up. I think I might have to twist it a tiny bit to get this in a little more, but pretty close. If you're wondering, the brackets down that AFE gave are apparently an 8, not a 10 like the other ones. So if you think you're tightening it and you're not, that's why. Okay, so left side is done. You can see down there, tighten on the turbo. Right side is done. And now we just need to do the blow-off valve tubes, and then I think this breather tube just gets connected, and I think we're done, guys. What a pain in the ass. Double check your turbo inlets, obviously, to make sure they're all super tight. I ended up doing the brackets like that, and then this one I ended up switching around like that, which wasn't a good position, but then as I tightened it, it fell down. So ideally, it'd probably be best to have it like right here, but then in the front I did that. So I use the screwdriver like such, just because it's easier. Although if you have a really long... The next step is the blow-off valve tubes. So you're going to take the shorter 1-inch diameter tube that they gave us. Looks like more than an inch, but and you're going to put a bracket on either end of it, and then you're just going to slide it right here. And then the other one's going to go same side, just other side needs to be longer because that doesn't line up as perfectly as that. Okay, so the blow-off valve tubes are installed like so. You can get these pretty tight, but the barb is also pretty big, so you don't really need to worry. These are screws only. I don't know what the socket is, but I had to use a screw. Like a 7 and a 6 were not the right size, so, and they're also pretty tight and smooth. So unfortunately, you have to use a flathead, but it's not that hard. Just make sure you orient them in a way, the bands, that you can actually get to them with the screwdriver later. So yeah, those went on pretty relatively easily. The next step is going to be to install this hose on the barb that we screwed in. See, it went on pretty easily. Then we'll have to use pliers to get that clamp back down where it belongs. And then the final step, and yes, it is the final step, and then putting the engine cover back on and or installing the plugs if you so choose to put them in, which I will, but probably not at first, is to install the breather hose back, a new breather hose back where we had it before. Presto changeo, pliers worked perfectly, back exactly where it belongs, so that's pretty cool. All right, final step, breather tube. Okay, so the tube is gonna go from here to here, where we took the other one off. It looks a lot smaller than the barb, but I think I can just force it on. Remember how much of a pain in the ass the other one was to get off, so in likeness, it would make perfect sense that this would be also a pain in the ass to get on and off. Another thing to want to be annoyed with is the clamps they're a different clamp. So, I mean, it did say to use potentially the clamps that came off the car, but I thought they were a little too big, but maybe they weren't. Probably would have been easier to do that, to be honest. But I ended up using the band clamps with the screws. But so you're going to need a flathead or a better Phillips because, yeah, mine apparently are not sharp enough. I don't know. But, I mean, I've had to go on a wild tool chase for this whole thing just because there's so many different things that are required for it. But okay, that is it, guys. Got the breather tube back on. It goes underneath this little tube right here. I didn't get it on very far, but I just put the clip on. I don't really give a crap at this point. I mean, it's unnecessarily hard. You know, this whole thing was unnecessarily hard. Like, just really, the clamps just did it for me at the end. Or just screwdrivers. Give me one that I can put a socket on, please. It just makes it so much freaking easier. Anyways, so the only other thing left to do, if you so choose, is to put... Where the heck are they? Oh yeah, to put the little covers on, which is what I will be running it as primarily, because otherwise it's going to become, you know, a not a cold air intake. But I think it'll sound better with them open, so I'm going to try it with them open first, and then I'm going to make them closed. And then the other thing is to put the engine cover back on, which I didn't show in this video. I already had it off, but that's pretty easy. You just kind of line up these little nubs with the things on the bottom of it, and then just press it on. Also, if you drop something down here, which I just dropped a socket as I was cleaning up, luckily I just went underneath, just tapped the underside plastic and it fell right out, so that saved a hassle, but be careful of that anyways. I actually forgot. Strut braces, need to put those back on. I did just hand tighten these for now. I'll look up the torque spec later. I actually just did look it up and there was like a 30% range, so maybe hand spec is the right tightness. I don't know. They seem pretty good, but I like the torque things, but I guess not. And engine cover back on. Final product. Okay, so I've had it installed for a couple days now, and was it worth it? Probably not. I don't notice too much of a difference. You can definitely hear a little bit of whooshing under the acceleration. You might have just heard it there. It really only matters at high revs, though. Like, that's the only place you're going to hear it. So if you're driving around places that are slow speed limit, you're not going to notice any difference at all. So keep that in mind. Like, if you have a lot of, speed traps around, or you're not able to accelerate rapidly, on back streets, you're not going to notice it. Like, you'll notice on the highway, maybe, as you're accelerating, but it's going to be drawn out by the exhaust noise. I can't say it feels any more responsive. And I doubt it makes any more power. I mean, I didn't expect it to make any more power, to be totally honest. So, that's not surprising. The noise is a little bit. I wish it was a little louder, or a little earlier, I should say. Not louder. Wish it but it's just the nature of the car. Like, where it needs the revs need to be kicked up, the turbos need to spool up for it to make any noise. So it's just the nature of the beast. But I do wish that were the case. That's about the only complaint that I have. I mean, you can hear it there, maybe. That was the 35, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, it looks cool. It was a project to do, spend some time on. It did take 4.5 hours, something like that. I was filming it though, so it'd probably go quicker if you weren't filming it. And hopefully the video would help you do it a little faster, knowing what to actually pull when you're replacing stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's okay. $450 is what I paid for it. That's a lot of money. Normally it's like $550, $600. That's even more money. There's 2 intakes, so that's why it's so expensive. I mean, when you think about it, a regular cold air intake back in the day, on a naturally aspirated was probably $200 or $300 anyways, and that was only for one setup. This is a bunch of tubes, 2 filters, 2 cases, and free shipping. So it's the nature of the beast. But anyways, if you like this video and it helped you out, or you were just curious, be sure to comment, like, and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. And I'd love to know if you've installed this and you have any different opinions than I do, or if you have any insight to share with other people. So be sure to let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed it.